Score, 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 score. Let's go, Islanders. Score, 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 score. From unknown parts of metropolitan New York City, I am the hip, and this is the lip.
Yes, good evening, everybody in Hip and Lib Nation. All Jet fans out there, ready with me? 1, 2, 3, let's go, Gino. We're ready for Gino. We want Gino right now. In Gino we trust. In Gino we trust.
Heaven on earth for Jets, Mets, and Islander fans. Yes, 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 yes. In New York City.
All competing for the worst team in New York right now. Who wants that title? Who wants to assume that title of worst team in New York?
They're all fighting very hard to achieve that honor at this moment in time. Yeah.
Islanders, Jets, Giants, all duking it out. Well, I guess the Rangers.
And just to add salt to the wound, Justin Turner home run in the postseason of Jake Arrieta.
But aren't we all rooting for the Cubs because everybody in America is?
Just saying, former Met Justin Turner.
To rub salt in the wound for Mets fans. But aren't we all Cubs fans? They're America's darlings. Oh, I want the Cubs to win so badly. They haven't won in so many years. Oh,
no, but they're the favorite. They're the favorite team. So I don't know if probably wants that, but I don't know if the neutral fan subscribes to that.
Yeah, it's true. It's not very H to root for the Cubs right now. It's a lot more H to root for. I don't know. Who's the most favorite team right?
So we are a New York Sports Islander podcast. I am the Hip, and this is the Lip, and we're not, we're talking about the Cubs Giants playoff game 3 in LA because it's happening right now as we speak, and because the New York Islanders just concluded their 4th game of the season. Yes, since our last show, 4 games, their first 4 games of the year. And the Islanders are a robust 1-3 to start the year.
Robust.
We will get into that a little bit later. We will get into some more baseball playoffs. But before that, we will do our football teams.
The Islanders have been anything but robust. So I'll just throw that in there.
So at least one New York football team, I should say downstate, right? Not the Buffalo Bills. We don't really cover them in depth, but
they are the best team in New York right now. Best football team in New York.
They are. the New York Football Giants are after defeating the Baltimore Ravens last week in a tight one, 27-23. And the New York Jets, well, as we said weeks ago, they could be 1-5 after 6. Here we are, 1-5 after 6. So the Giants took the game at home against the Ravens. Low scoring to begin with, some big plays later on. Giants right now.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Sorry. How are you feeling about your Giants?
My Giants, yes. A little technical difficulty. Yeah, so that Giants game, they did play last Sunday, didn't they? Well, they are now 3-3 after pulling out a victory. Which you thought was not going to come after, and I'll get this in first because
on your face, that is. Yeah.
Yes, right on my face. And I got to say, now, one of the themes for this NFL weekend, you've seen it written about, you've seen it talked about, is the penalty flag. We're seeing so much yellow now, NFL fans. You saw it yesterday during the Jet game. And we'll get to Sean McDonough, the play-by-play guy for Monday Night Football on ESPN, his little comment during the game about penalties and affecting gameplay and NFL ratings, etc. So I guess we'll touch on that when we do the Jets. But in all my years of watching football, I do have a pretty decent memory, and I could recall some obscure, irrelevant, stupid crap. I cannot recall though a worse pass interference call than the one that I saw on Sunday. Now I don't know if you saw it, Mr. Hip, if you were watching the game, if you saw the call, if you know what I'm referring to, but this call could have cost the Giants the game, and it looked like it may have. After the Ravens would take a 23-20 lead by scoring a touchdown, my guy Terrence West would punch it in from the 1 or 2 yard line late in the fourth quarter. But it was set up, that touchdown, by pass interference call I've ever seen in my life. It was a call against Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. He was covering, I think it may have been Aiken down the sidelines there. It was a deep pass by Joe Flacco. Rogers Cromartie had absolute perfect position. I mean, it was textbook cornerback play. If you're a football coach, if you're a Pee Wee Pop Warner football coach and you're teaching your kids how to play that position, you pull up that video and you say, ignore the flag, ignore the moron referee, who's one of the worst referees in the game, I might add, Jeff Triplett. He is he may be the worst referee in the NFL. He is atrocious. He's had so many just bad calls, and his crew's had so many bad moments in different games. But anyway, but they call pass interference on the play. Textbook, just perfect coverage by Dominic Rogers Cromartie on the play. Had Aiken covered perfectly, made a play on the ball, didn't at all interfere with them. He gets the flag, and then the Ravens would score. And then Mr. Odell Beckham, who had 2 long touchdown passes in this game. You saw him break out in a very big way, ended up with 8 catches for 222 yards, and again, 2 long touchdowns. He would score a 66-yard touchdown at the end of the game, which would ultimately be the game-winning score. And I guess we'll get to his antics, at least just touch on it, because we'll see what kind of effect that his behavior is going to have on the team going forward. But an amazing play by Beckham there. On a 4th down and 1 play, I might add. He took just like a little slant pass from, ran a little slant pattern. Eli Manning made a good pass to him. It should have been, a 1st down. Any other wide receiver probably is tackled there, but because he ran a precise route, because his cuts are so precise and they're so quick and they're so, and he's so agile and he's so athletic, he was able to, basically make the 2 defenders on the play knock into each other. He takes off. Nobody's catching him at that point once he gets in the open field. Scores a touchdown, game over. Off comes the helmet, of course, and that would lead to a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty, which I guess we'll kind of cram that in when we talk about his antics and all the other nonsense. But, game-winning touchdown. They needed every bit of his magnificence in this game, and he was magnificent. He was the player that we have come to expect, and he was as big a reason the Giants won that game as anybody. So, well, what did you think, Mr.
Yeah, I'm watching. I didn't get to see the play because I was participating in pregame Islanders activities. The Islanders home opener was 6 p.m. start on Sunday.
We'll have to get into that a little bit later about your experience at the Barclays.
So, I just saw I pulled it up online, and yeah, that's. Basically, Cromartie is just playing. He's basically in better position to catch it.
Oh,
he's in position that the receiver should be in at the goal line, and he doesn't lay a finger on Aiken. Aiken's like actually trying to bat the pass away.
If anything, I saw the flag and I thought it may have been offensive pass interference. I honestly thought it was going to be offense. I said there's no way it's on Cromartie.
Look, the NFL knows. Look, they know when calls are blown. I mean, they every week, the NFL puts together a video montage basically of all the bad calls that were made, and they send them to all the officials to review so that they see what went wrong. It's not like they turn the other way. It's an
epidemic, though. They still don't know what a catch is. They still don't know what pass interference is. We see so many ridiculous pass interference calls every week. Apparently, and I didn't see it.
I'm not disagreeing
there was one
with
on
that.
Julio
I'm not
Jones
disagreeing with that.
He was interfered with blatantly to a point where, he was almost tackled and they didn't call it. So they don't even know what pass interference is, the NFL. They don't know what a catch is. They still haven't figured it out in 100 years of football. They still don't know what a damn catch is, let alone a pass interference call. It was so horrific. It was so egregious. And because of the fact that it's a spot foul, of course, unlike college where it's only 15 yards, it could have cost the Giants the game. And they score a touchdown on that drive, the Ravens, and there's a couple minutes to go in the game, and the Giants lose. That's the story. And the NFL was thrilled that Odell Beckham took that pass to the house, because if he doesn't, the story is the penalty and the awful call that it was, because it was beyond egregious. And honestly, that referee, Triplett, should be suspended. He should be suspended. If not, for the rest of the year, let alone like a week or 2. He should be suspended the rest of the year. That's how horrific that
Well,
call
he didn't
was.
throw the flag. He didn't throw the flag, but you're saying he
It's
should
still his
overrule
crew. It's
the
his
guy
crew.
that threw it?
It's his crew. That entire crew should be suspended. You have to. You can't call a penalty on that play. I'm sorry. I don't care. Who threw the. I don't care. It was the back judge or the. I don't care who threw the damn flag. It was
what they should have done was they should have picked up the guy that threw it should have sucked it up and said, "My bad. We're picking up the flag."
Well, that's when they congregate. You see
the
officials congregate. It's inexcusable. That's
the error. And at the professional level, they should. You would think that a guy that back judge who threw that flag coached on officiating at college intramurals, but I was coached by an instructor who did college football games, so I learned quite a bit about officiating football games. And first of all, it's not easy. It is. I'm not trying to make excuses for these guys. These are professionals.
No,
they're getting paid.
I understand. Look, it's subjective. I get that. You're going to have questionable. You can always have questionable calls. Any game you'll have questionable calls, but it gets to a point where it's just where you see a penalty called on and you just say, you know what? I don't know the rule. Then I just don't know the rule. I guess it just means that you're not allowed to play defense. Maybe that they're just trying to cultivate an environment where defensive backs just can't play defense, and we want the wide receivers to have free reign in the secondary where they're just making 50 and 60 and 70-yard catches because that's what we want. We're trying to breed that, breed more offense, so we don't want defense. I mean, if you don't, then just, maybe have them play 11 on 5 or something. Only 5 defensive players, or 7. You can have 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers or something.
Isn't it fair to say, though, the play has been pretty bad in general in the NFL this year?
Yeah, we've talked about that. And we have talked.
Despite I don't know what the stats show as far as like number of pass interference calls to date versus other years, but even if the NFL's effort to lessen the impact of the defense is not helping, apparently, because it's aside from like Drew Brees at home, you really can't count on any offense to be clicking at all cylinders at any moment. That's like the only offense that seems to work.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, look, the play this year. It's been an ongoing theme. Just the media. Just how really mediocre the play has been, or just how below average it's been. And the teams and how many good teams do you have in the league right now? We've talked about it. I mean, the Patriots, or you could say, are really the only good team in the AFC. I mean, you want to say Denver, I guess, but. Denver has their problems offensively. It's really astounding just how much mediocrity you have in that league right now, and how subpar the level of play has been. So up until. And
just as far as Beckham goes, is it really hard to just accept probably what's the reality with him, and that's you have to take the good with the bad? I mean, this guy, how old is he? He's 23 years old. I think. It's that aggression that you see with his antics that leads. I think that's part and parcel with his good play. I think it's the same. It's not so easy to compartmentalize these two. We're talking about a human being who's 23 years old. I don't think it's that simple to just there are professionals. After a while, they get it, and they can. They can be all ramped up for the play, and then once the play's over, they can just walk slowly back to the huddle like nothing ever happened, and channel their emotions that way. I mean, this is like a young Des Bryant type personality. I mean, we've gone through this before. There's so many, you see this pattern for young receivers. This is not a unique thing. And what are you going to do? What can they do? I mean, if he's going to get 200 yards, knock it off.
But here's
and that's not going to do anything.
He wants to go make out with the net. Yeah, and look, he was brilliant. He was. Excuse me. He was sensational in that game on Sunday, and they needed every bit of his 222 yards. Yes. I mean, the offense was stagnant for most of the first half, and then they finally changed up a bit. They He'll start running, kind of like a modified no-huddle offense. Eli gets into a little bit of a rhythm. The running game went nowhere. The running game was non-existent in that game on Sunday, but they were finally able to get Eli into a rhythm with his receivers. And, Beckham made that, 75-yard touchdown pass. They finally breathed some life into that offense. And then obviously, the game-winning touchdown, which again, I don't think any wide receiver in the league has taken that to the house. I think he's the only one. Maybe Julio Jones, one of the that you can say maybe would have taken that pass to the house.
Adam Humphries, maybe.
Yeah, of course, yes. Maybe the amazing Kenny Britt or Cam Meredith now. But I mean, yes, Quick, he is a obviously phenomenal player. I love watching him because I have not seen a receiver of at least the way he plays the game. Just the. You can throw it up. You feel like he's going to. I mean, his hands this year have been a little questionable. He's dropped a couple passes, but he's just so explosive. You just feel like you throw it to him, he's going to catch anything that's even remotely close to him. If he gets a step on you in the secondary, forget it. He's gone. And again, they needed every bit of it on Sunday, but. Here's the problem. You want to go make out with the net. Look, it's stupid, and you have to nip it in the bud at some point because if it gets out of hand where he just feels he can have free reign and do anything he wants, then it really will hurt the team. But he almost hurt the team anyway because he took a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty by taking his damn helmet off. And you know that they are going to flag that every time. That's been a rule now, whether you think it's stupid or ridiculous or the NFL doesn't allow you to celebrate. It's been a rule for 10 or 15 years. They're going to call it every time, and they always do. You can't be stupid like that and do that because it would have hurt, because it almost did hurt the team. I mean, Baltimore was able to drive the ball down the field, and they had a ball in the end zone for a chance to win the game.
Yeah. As frustrated as you might be, I don't think there's anything the Giants can do about it.
What
are they going to do?
But I
hold them out for the first series next week?
With that,
what are they going to
do? What can they do? I think the Giants are afraid of him because of how good he is, and because they know that they have to tiptoe around him and walk a fine. But you can't you have to, at some point, you have to rein it in. You can't let him walk all over you like that and just do whatever he wants.
So what do you do?
You have to then draw a line and say, if you cross it, if we're going to tell you that, the antics have to stop, that you have to know the rule book. You have to, be in control of your emotions. And because if you hurt the team, then we're going to bench you. And we're going to tell you you're going to sit
go ahead, bench me. See how the junior guy that stepped up, who miraculously scored a touchdown, does in my place, and see how benching does. Well, I mean, he can literally say that. By the way, who is that guy?
Of course, but any superstar player can say that. I mean, but not every superstar player acts that way. I mean, look at it's this. We're gonna talk about the Islanders. Look at John
but I don't know if threatening. Yeah, but my point is, threatening with the benching like that just doesn't seem like it's combative, but as opposed to
you don't have to.
I think he needs tough love. I think he needs tough love. I think he needs a guy in his face.
But they haven't done that though either. Nobody's gotten in his face. Maybe they're moving that in that direction, but
I think a coach has to get in his face and be hard.
I agree. I don't disagree with you, and I'm not saying this has to be like a threat.
But saying we're going to bench you, I don't like that. That combative type of. Because I think
there's a way of handling personalities. Like the Giants, I don't know Odell Beckham. The coaching staff knows. I mean, they have to know how to handle him, and they have to know what the correct steps are to rein this in. And again, if
maybe not. I mean, it doesn't. This happens where they.
And look, it's not just the team. I mean, the media breeds this too. I mean, his self-aggrandizing, and they do love it. And Gary Myers, who I think is a good NFL columnist, he writes for the Daily News. I mean, he's asking about it instead of talking about the play, the touchdown. This question was, the net at the end of the game. Would you propose to the net? You were making out with the net there. Oh, did you propose to it? Oh, what are the kids going to look like? I mean, why is that necessary? If he wants to make a little funny quip or something like, the net 9 made up, that's fine. You're allowed
because they get more hits on their websites. Come on.
But I'm not reading an article for that. I want to know about the play. I want to know about the game. And
but you're not the average fan. You're not the average fan.
I'd be astounded if people are watching Odell Beckham just to see what his celebration is going to be if he scores a touchdown instead of actually watching him perform on the field.
No. You don't get. It's what they want to read on Monday and Tuesday during their work week. Like they want to read what are these interesting storylines. They saw the game. They can only see the replay.
How is that a storyline, though? How is him just with this ridiculous celebration? How is that a storyline?
We're talking about it too.
The storyline would have been his penalty if they lose. That would have been a storyline. Would it not have been?
Maybe
It would
it
have.
was.
See,
I
it
don't
could
know.
have.
Maybe
If
it was.
the Giants lose, it would have been either the pass interference call, so the NFL was so happy that Beckham scored there, or if they lose, then maybe the NFL deflects it. Oh, how about Beckham's penalty though? It wasn't the referee; it was the and they would have been right. I mean, because his penalty.
How ironic is it that we say winning cures all ills, and imagine if the Giants had lost, how much more intense this discussion would be.
Oh
the
my
fact
God,
that they
forget
won
it.
and it's intentionally instigating you on this because no, because I like having this back and forth. I think that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, well, and this right, and this is what engages us about sports is and it's not. Oh, is it always the play on the field? No, we like talking about the players and their personalities and this one's comment and what this one did. I mean, yes, it is part of it, of course, and that's what engages a lot of people. Within the sports is the personalities and the sound bites and all that. And I understand. I'm not saying he shouldn't have a personality, Beckham. I'm not saying that he should be dull like his coach, who's mastered chapter 4 of Coaching for Dummies, spouting cliches. I'm not saying he has to do that, or he has to be Derek Jeter and have boring interviews where he just gives bland vanilla answers, or even John Tavares again, who I referenced just a few minutes ago as somebody who's so who's very professional and buttoned up, but right. Doesn't really have much of a personality or charisma either, and that's just him. That's just the way he is. Which I'm not.
I think it's time to move on. I think we've kind of exhausted it for now.
Well, we'll see if there's more. We'll see if there's more
to revisit next week. The Giants travel to London, I believe.
Yes.
Game against
Wake
the
up
Rams.
next week and set your alarms, everybody, because they had to play at least like 5 games in London this year. Oh yes, we're gonna have a team in London in a few years. So set your alarms. 9:30 game.
9:30 start. It's an away game for the Giants, so that the Giants don't lose a game at MetLife this year.
Oh yeah, amazing that they would take a game away from LA. That shocks me that the NFL that they just moved there. I mean, I know they take games from Jacksonville and Miami because they don't care about those cities, but LA they just moved there. I know they're building that's a little strange. So but
maybe the idea is to have people in London feel a direct appeal to LA to root for them specifically because it's Los Angeles, one of the between Los Angeles and you're in London, you don't know, it's like me and you going to London to watch a premier soccer matchup between Manchester and I don't know
Chelsea.
Yeah, whatever, the two best teams. We're I mean, it's not the same. It's not a perfect analogy, but you hear like the 2 biggest cities, in
I mean,
the
United
United
Giants,
States.
obviously. I mean, the Giants are one of the more well-known NFL franchises. LA, big,
So,
big
people hear LA. Ooh, LA. I don't know. All right.
Possible.
Well, now let's get to the Jets here, and I mean, you will be struggling to take any positive out of. I mean, last night's game was just a complete disaster from start to finish.
Pathetic.
Really, I mean, it may be the worst performance from any team in any game so far this year.
It was that bad.
Bottom 3. I mean, it was that bad. Even like the one drive where the Jets, had their like 14-play drive and they get it to the 20. And of course, I knew it was going to end in an interception. Ryan Fitzpatrick just making an ill-advised pass, trying to find Brandon Marshall.
Was it 21-3 at that game at that point?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was in the second. I know it was in the second half. I think it was 21.
Yeah, I believe it was 21-3 at that point, and that was the death blow. I mean, not that you really thought the Jets would make a comeback, but if they had,
but it's a 2-score game, and there was still time left. So I mean, if they score there, not that you think they're going to come back and win. It's still the odds are against them. But it's just fitting that it ends with another red zone interception.
But Fitzpatrick has, since week 17 of last year, now he's been the more average quarterback that this journeyman player has been historically known for. I mean, instead of this magical record-setting passing yard season they had for the Jets last year. I just think that everything clicked right last year. I say it over and over again, and I think he's just, regressed to his mean. that's really what you're getting. I mean, I don't know what Jet fans really expected from him. I guess they expected him to continue that magic. Unfortunately, the Jets are painfully, had no depth at wide receiver after Decker and Marshall. Quincy Enunwa has not stepped up at all. He was a good third receiver, but doesn't appear to fit the role that a second receiver requires in this offense, especially when you don't throw any passes to your tight ends. Matt Forte has done nothing since week 2, basically. I think he scored 3 touchdowns against the Bills. And
the offensive line, though, has been
he's gone into hiding, and Bilal Powell is a good complementary back. He's not a bell cow. So Forte, they gave him 30 carries in that game against the Bills. And now he's coming back
since that game, he has not done anything. But, he hasn't
done anything.
It's a lack of a commitment to the running game, and it's also bad offensive line play.
You go down the line here. Then on the other side of the ball, obviously the secondary continues to get shredded. It wasn't that terrible last night, actually, for the secondary as far as letting up big plays. Now, there were a lot of penalties, and that's another story.
Yeah, Buster Skrine, I think he just committed another pass interference.
But again,
6 penalties for him. 2 of them were declined, but 6 in all. And there was one sequence. I noticed when I was in and out. I mean, it was just an awful football game. I mean, it's not like Arizona, dominated them. And you're like, wow, Arizona looks great. Arizona did not look
drives. They just had a few drives where they methodically took it down the field, got help with some penalties, and David Johnson punched it in. I mean, he did have that one really long run.
Yeah, and that set the tone for the game. I thought the Jets, just giving up that, it was 58 yards, like almost untouched. I mean, the tackling on that play was poor. They missed David Harris yesterday. I mean, David Harris had been, such a staple in that defense for so long now. I mean, he's been with the team. He's got to be 7 or 8 years. A mainstay in that linebacking core. The guy from Michigan, Mr. David Harris, and he wasn't on the field yesterday, and they felt the effects of it. I mean, their tackling yesterday and their defense overall was bad, but I mean, their tackling was abysmal.
They host Baltimore on Sunday. A game that they could win, but this team didn't show any life last night.
No, they quit. They quit in that game yesterday. I thought it was
I think what's interesting is how Todd Bowles last night came out. They asked him obviously who's going because Geno came in for a series and fumbled the ball and threw an interception on a single series.
Yeah, well, of course. That's Geno.
And of course, the media asking Bowles immediately, who's going to start next week. And last night he said Fitzpatrick's our starter. Now this morning or this afternoon during the press conference, he said, you always
track a little bit
the incumbents. Yeah, the incumbents are, we always say the incumbents immediately after the game, but
we have to have our staff meetings, our coaches meetings, yes.
But the day, then we have to. I mean, of course, he could have said that last night when he was saying who the incumbent was. He could have said at the same time we have meetings next week to decide what we're going to do going forward. But he didn't say that last night. He said it today, which is telling because he could have said it last night.
Yeah, and it tells you that the strings are being pulled, and that those strings. It's not just coming from the GM in the front office. I mean, it's coming from the owner's box. That's where it's coming from. Woody Johnson is weighing in on this, and but here's the fodder. Here's the talk radio and newspaper fodder for everybody because everybody loves a quarterback controversy and a debate, especially when a team is going badly. Who should play quarterback? Should they yank the starter and put in the backup? And I don't know what your thoughts on this. I say no. I think it would be wrong to bench Fitzpatrick right now. I think if you put in Geno, look, as far as I'm concerned, Geno, he is what he is. You know what he is. He is at best a backup quarterback in this league. I don't care if he thinks he's a starter and he's, throwing up his arms yesterday and, he looks like he's throwing a temper tantrum on the sideline when the team was going bad before he was put in the game. And, I'm sitting there thinking, Geno, how exactly, what resume do you have that you can, stand there on the sidelines and throw up your arms, like, oh, I'm waiting in the wings here. Get me in. I'm so much better than this guy. Honestly, I think the Jets, considering everything that they went through with Fitzpatrick in the offseason, the contract negotiations and the last-minute signing and, just them committing to him, if you committed to him in the offseason, and, you committed to him, for this season to bring him back, then you have to stick with him because the season's not over yet. The season at 1-5, I know it feels like it's over to many Jet fans. Oh, the team looks awful. I have no reason to think they're going to make the playoffs. Just throw in a backup quarterback and throw in this guy and let's just see what we have and mail it in. And we're thinking about the draft next year. you're not done at 1-5. You don't have to be done at 1-5. They can still, if they win this week at home against Baltimore, you have Cleveland, you have Miami. You know, they yes, they have the Pats twice, but
the Patriots twice, yes.
Yeah. I knew what you said.
I said you got the Patriots twice, yes.
Oh, yes. Well, yes, they have the Pats twice, but they don't have to give up on the season. Look, if the team wants to quit on the season, then we know, what this team was about, and, that it was not destined to do anything, and, they may as well just blow it up at the end of the year, and it may include getting rid of everybody, including the coach. But I think if they go to Geno right now, it sends a message that we feel we have no chance this season. We're just going to, try out things, and we're going to play backups, and we're going to see what this guy has and that guy has. And, especially considering how veteran-laden this team is, you think those veterans are going to be, motivated and compelled to give it their all every game when they know the coaching staff feels like they've given up on the season? You think Brandon Marshall is going to go out there and want to, especially considering it feels like he's always playing hurt. You think he's going to want to risk himself, especially, if he's playing for a new contract, they may have a new team next year. I think it would be a terrible message to send to that locker room, to the team, and regardless of what the fans say, and I can't believe the fans would want Geno. This is the guy that they booed incessantly every time he stepped on the field in the preseason. So I think at a minimum you have to give Fitzpatrick one more game. At minimum, one more game. Look, if they lose on Sunday at home to average Baltimore Ravens, I don't know, you reevaluate it, but I think it would be a mistake to start Geno next week, and that's my 2 cents. As the Jet fan, the season ticket holder, what do you think, season ticket holder?
Do you have your Ethernet into your computer? Because it's getting very choppy.
Oh, yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds very choppy.
Maybe I'll disconnect and see if that works, actually. Did you hear? So I posed the question.
It's very hard. It's almost like it's a rushed. It's almost like a chipmunk speak that's choppy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I unhooked it. So, I posed the question. What do you think? Do you think?
No, you know what? Try to read just quick. While I answer the question, reconnect to the feed.
All right.
Just exit out and reconnect. So while the Lip does that, I'm inclined to say yes, stick with Fitzpatrick because the season is not over at 1-5. The one point that the Lip made that I don't know if I am fully on board with is he said, what Geno Smith is. You're back.
I am back. All right. I do know what Geno Smith is.
Much better. Okay.
Right.
So I am inclined to agree. You stick with Fitzpatrick. I'm inclined to agree. You stick with Fitzpatrick. The season is not over. I don't know. You made a statement that said we know what Geno Smith is. And I don't know if we fully know the answer to that. I'm not saying that means that he starts next week. But maybe you've seen enough of him to know. I don't know if I have. I feel like maybe it's because it's short-term memory and he hasn't started a game in a while. At least I don't remember when he would have recently to know to remember how awful of plays he made. But I guess the part of me says at least there is some chance, maybe remotely, that he can show better than what Fitzpatrick, if Fitzpatrick is going to continue to play like this. And
he's been terrible. I agree.
I don't know how much better Fitzpatrick can get yet. Can he play? Look, he played really well. I go back to that Buffalo game, but now we're minus Decker. I mean, that's the Fitzpatrick you want to see week in and week out. I'm not saying you put in Geno Smith, but I wonder if there's a shift in the. I know you go to the veteran talk and how the locker room's going to take it. You wonder if those guys how much of them are still behind Fitzpatrick and to what extent. I don't know because he's been really bad. So are the players in the locker room thinking to themselves or out loud? Maybe Fitzpatrick. This is his. He's only signed through this year. What's the point of sticking with this guy? We thought that maybe his Fitzmagic would continue from last year minus week 17, and it clearly hasn't. And maybe it's time to find out. No, I'm not saying now's the time. Maybe in a few weeks, if they continue to, if Fitzpatrick, if he has one or two more, really bad games, then I think something's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that this can continue. Look, this can't continue, and you'll see Geno if he goes out and plays a miserable game next week at home against Baltimore. Yeah. I think you can have
probably. I think he gets one more game.
Argument.
He gets one more. I think he gets one more game.
I think he should. I think especially at home against the an average Baltimore team that doesn't have a great secondary, but it's more than Fitzpatrick though. I mean, the offensive line has been bad. The play calling. I don't like to get into specific, but I mean just the offensive game plan. It just feels like has been disjointed, and they don't commit to a running game. You brought in Forte, but they haven't they haven't tried to establish him at all in the last couple of weeks. Decker was a big loss. We talked about Decker's loss. That's a big loss. Everybody, thinks of Marshall first. Like, oh, he's number one. Decker, okay, we can, get by if he goes down because you can have somebody step up as long as you have Marshall. You're seeing how he was that offense last year.
We heard that Decker, Decker was put on IR because of a shoulder injury. He actually had hip surgery today. That will really? Keep him out. He had hip surgery that I believe
I didn't hear that.
Will preclude him from getting the shoulder surgery for like 6 months.
Really?
So now his availability going into next year is in question.
I think you can say that Eric Decker will not be contributing to this team ever. Maybe you may have seen him in Jets uniform for the last time. I think if that's the case.
Yeah. That happened. That we learned of today. Well, look. Well, I'll be there on Sunday, and it's going to be a hostile crowd, just frustrated crowd. I'm sure they're going to, be waiting for any moment to boo
absolutely
boo the team.
Are they going to chant for Geno though? I mean, Bryce Petty's not coming in, so Jet fans, I want Bryce Petty. He's not coming in. He just got back to practice the last like a week ago. He's not playing on Sunday. There is zero chance Bryce Petty's getting in the game on Sunday. So put that out of your mind.
Fitzpatrick throws 2 bad interceptions in the first half. Then who knows? Then the cheers will come.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that they should leave him in there the rest of the season if he's playing this horrifically, but it's not all on him. The offensive line has been terrible too.
Look, the Jets may lose. He may have an okay game. They'll stick with him. But if he's just like downright awful, like making the stupid, just throw the ball. Just throw the damn ball away. Don't force it. Just throw the damn ball away.
You know what? We'll see if this team has any pride. And I think I want to say that on Sunday. Does this team have any pride? Are they going to fight, and try and salvage and save theirs? It's not all just Fitzpatrick. It's everybody. I mean, the defensive line, that vaunted defense. Now, Richardson had a good game yesterday, although they were lining up in the linebacker spot. What were they doing? Well, I don't understand why he's playing linebacker. He's a defensive lineman. He's a interior lineman. What are they doing there? It's like they're trying to do anything they can to generate a pass rush or to make something click. It's almost like they have their defensive scheme is like non-existent. It's just like throw guys out there and hope that it all falls into place. Like, what are they doing? Their secondary, they obviously need better play from. Revis looks like he may be on his last legs. And I mean, let's just see if this team puts up a last stand here on Sunday, or if they mail it in. And look, if they mail it in, I think you can kiss the season goodbye if they lose again on Sunday and they look as bad as they did on Monday, but yesterday.
All right. So let's move on to some hockey.
All right.
So the New York Islanders season is underway. 4 games in the books already.
Yeah, their season's over too. Their season's over too. Back up the truck. They stink.
Well, two more games, and they'll two more losses, and they'll have the same record as the Jets.
Yeah, maybe they'll get there. Maybe they'll get the 5 losses before the Jets even play on Sunday. Because they'll play. They play Friday, and then I think Saturday actually. Yeah. So
I was at the only game that the Islanders emerged victorious. So that was a pleasant.
So tell us about your experience at the home opener on Sunday. Yeah. So you had Baby H with you, did you not?
Took my son to the game. He was able to get in free of charge because he's under 34 inches.
They measured him. Did they really
no,
measure?
They don't measure it, but they don't measure, but it's stated on the website.
34. Really? It's not even like under 2 or like under 3. It's 34. They measure the kid.
It's both 2.5 years I'm
Okay.
sorry, 2 years, under 2 years old and 34 inches. MetLife, what's interesting about MetLife is for Jets games, it's the same policy.
But
Giants games, every human being requires a ticket. Doesn't
yeah.
matter how old or young.
What about pregnant women? Are pregnant women charged for their fetus?
Go take the Roe v. Wade standard.
Whoops. Yeah, he's not
So-
really a person. No, they're not really a person yet. Isn't there?
So we got blessed with incredible seats. My wife's cousin, he gets great seats to sporting events all the time. We had the 6th row across from the benches. Is that considered the near side when you're I guess because we're on the broadcaster side. So the 6th row.
Okay, so you're facing the benches.
Right between the
you're on.
the red face-off circle and the blue line. That was where we were.
Wow.
So we had the Islanders' offensive zones in the first and third periods.
Nice. Damn good seats.
Yep. Very good seats. And, what was so funny throughout the game, and I just kept laughing to myself, is there must have been 5 people within the vicinity of where we were sitting, and who knows about the entire building. Bailey sucks. You suck, Bailey. Like the only player getting singled out on the Islanders in a negative light was Bailey. No question. And they have to hear when you're that close. They have to.
Well,
hear
they were yelling. They were like chanting, and screaming. Bailey sucks. Is that what? That's
just
what they
yelling.
Were
You suck, Bailey. Like after he flubbed a pass or missed a shot opportunity and just didn't get a good shot off like near the net or something. Like you suck, Bailey. Like just loud. And I'm thinking to myself, man, they probably can hear that. It's close enough. I mean, you're right there. It's not Nassau Coliseum volume. I mean, it just doesn't exist at Barclays. It's not going to get to those levels, I don't think.
Well, how was the crowd? Was it it wasn't. I mean, it was announced to sell out, but they were empty seats. I heard.
There were empty seats, like in those upper deck corner sections that are like a upside down triangle shape.
Yeah.
Like those seats.
Obstructed seats, so you can only see 3/4 of the ice.
Yeah, so the obstructed seats that are behind the net on the side with the SUV, the car, that's occupying some otherwise prime real estate,
that's right.
prime seating spots.
The official mascot is back, gentlemen, the SUV.
Well, technically our seats are kind of obstructed because you can't see the corner on the other side of the ice on our on the opposite goal where the goal is, but like in the near side corner, you really can't see what's going on there from our seats because we're so close to the ice and that's so tucked away that really I kept unless you stand up, but I just found myself looking at the screen when the puck was buried all the way over there.
Yeah,
which is interesting for seats that it's pretty close to the pretty right up there. So but it was just ironic that you hear this all game and then of course who scores the game winner in overtime to give the Islanders their first win of the year. I just thought I'm not saying Bailey's a good player, I'm just saying it was kind of funny. And in this game Bailey was on the first line with Tavares and
yes, he
Ladd.
was. Yep.
Which I thought was a change. It was Ladd, Tavares, Chimera.
Yep.
The first couple games. And then interestingly, Clutterbuck was kind of mixed in with Tavares later on in the game in the third period. In fact, it was Clutterbuck setting up Tavares with a kick pass because Clutterbuck's stick was broken right in front of the net, and he kicked it to Tavares, who punched it in to give the Islanders a 2-1 lead in the third period. So Capuano, who supposedly is pretty, the opposite of fluid, I guess, with lines in games, appeared to be changing up a bit there. Howie Rose was in attendance at the game. He was, that there's a McDonald's section. It's like the college. I don't know if it's the college section or what they call it. But Howie Rose was up there for a part of it where they did a cheer and like I had thank you Howie on the screen.
So we got a nice ovation.
He did. He got a nice ovation. I also I caught at the end of the game. I saw our hip in the lip friend Eric Hornick.
Hey, you
Was there.
you saw the skinny,
I
Mr.
think
Skinny.
he was busy. I didn't get to say hi, but we were sitting so close to where the booth is. Our exit ramp was right by where the play-by-play booth is, and he was right next to. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. The new play-by-play announcer,
Brendan Burke.
Yeah, it's not a knock on him. I just forgot his name. Brendan Burke. And Hornick was sitting right next to him as they were getting ready for the post game. I guess because it was probably a commercial break following the overtime goal and when their post game started, and he had a billboard up, like not a billboard, a whiteboard, where Hornick was holding it up and showing the 3 stars of the game. He wrote them downward, and he was showing it to Brendan Burke. Is it Brendan or Brandon?
Brendan, I think.
Sorry, it got cut off on you.
Hey, right. Brendan. Yep, Brendan Burke.
Brendan.
Yep.
Like Brendan Shanahan.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he was there, and it looked like he was in his element. So I'm sure it's working out fine, transitioning from Howie to Brendan. But it was I didn't see the Boomer and Carton grill actually. I was looking for that, and I wonder if it's gone.
Really?
I went where we normally would go, and you walk into the right, and you walk on the main level, and maybe we passed it. I didn't see it, but I was looking for it, and
so you didn't get a Botchagaloop burger? Is that what you're saying?
I did not. So I didn't research it after if it's still what the story is on that, but maybe since Matty Martz left, Boomer's ties to the Islanders are pretty much are donezo. So
yeah, he's like, all right, get it out.
So all right, enough about that. I saw the one win, and it was nice. They had a 2-1 lead, and the Ducks tied it late in the third period. I think when they had their extra man.
Well, we were all so surprised. Oh, look at our shocked faces when that happened. Yes.
And Josh Bailey made a nice deke to score the goal.
Oh, it was a sick goal. Sick goal. I don't use that word. Usually, when I use that word, it's in a different context when I'm using that word to describe Bailey. But no, that was a really nice goal.
Yeah.
Very skillful.
So look, but that they were 0-2 going into that game. They lost at MSG. They lost at Washington, 2-1 against Washington. Kind of a lifeless game, for me from watching it. And then tonight they blew it. So 1-3.
They did. They are 1-3. They don't look. They are not a good 1-3 either. If there is such thing, they are not looking that good right now. They've had. I mean, you were at the game on Sunday. I mean, they were dominant in the first period. They
look pretty good.
Yeah, they had it. They were, and that's a good Anaheim team. I mean, they looked dominant at times in that first period. Had that on along with the football, but and then that second period, they didn't really have any flow because there were so many penalties. That's one positive, at least. Their penalty killing has looked good again. Their penalty killing last year was for the most part good, and it's looked pretty good again, despite no Franz this year. Who was a big part of their penalty kill last year and has been for years, but they blow it. Yeah, like you said, they have the lead in the third period. They blow it again. Kind of a couple soft goals in the third period by Halak, and they were able to pull it out in overtime. And as you said, Bailey, the winner. And with people that were sitting around you, were they cheering for Bailey? Then yeah, Bailey, we forgive you. We take it all back.
There was one guy that was saying he's not so bad, like as other people were saying he sucks.
He's not so bad after all.
There were people that were just laughing when there were people laughing.
When he scored the goal, were they laughing when he scored the goal? That'd be kind of H.
Yes, yes. Kind of was, because we all knew that we all heard Bailey sucks like the whole game. Even Janelle, like what's so bad about Bailey? She I didn't even have to bring it up. Like, who's Bailey? Why? What's so bad about it? And she found it funny when Bailey scored.
I wish I instead of cheering when he scored, everybody just starts laughing like, oh God, of course, there's Bailey scoring.
And then on tonight's broadcast, I felt like they kept showing him. Like he's like getting singled out, like not negatively necessarily, but he's getting a lot of attention.
I think that's a mandate from Garth. I think he's trying to, because all you're hearing now is all these positive, wonderful things about Bailey. Like, all of a sudden the Islanders have found this emerging, player that's going to play with Tavares in the first line. And Bailey, he's coming into his own. Well, no, not really there, Butchie. And I know Garth is forcing you probably to say that because Garth's trying to save his job.
I heard Butchie say that. I heard Butchie say that.
Yes, yep. So, and you're right. He is getting, it seems like, a little more focused on during these games. At least, over the first few games of the year. And look, Bailey's not playing that much. Even on the message, Bailey looks so much better. No. Let's not go crazy there about Bailey's play. Look, and I destroy Bailey too. We, any listeners to our program know that I've destroyed Bailey on numerous occasions, and I still think it's an insult that he's on the team. But right now he's a stopgap on Tavares' line because there's no better option. There really is legitimately no better option to play on his right side right now. Ladd's going to be there for the foreseeable future. Going to try and let them develop chemistry, and there's just nobody else to play on. There right now.
Why can't they do Clutterbuck?
They're just not going to do it. I'm not saying Clutterbuck's a bad option. I think Clutterbuck would.
But you're saying there's no better option, so that means you're saying Clutterbuck is not a better option.
In the coach's mind, there's no better option.
Yeah, but screw the coach. I'm saying what we think.
Like I said, I think Clutterbuck would be fine on that line.
Would be not fine. Would he be a better option?
I think it's worth a try. Clutterbuck's game.
Okay,
here's what I would say. Tavares, they need a guy, in my opinion, that can carry the puck. Ladd doesn't do that, and Tavares, he can, but he's not at his best when he's doing that. He's better when you can establish possession in the offensive zone and then let him work down low, work the puck, behind the net, work it out along the boards. You need somebody that can carry the puck through the neutral zone, gain the zone. Clutterbuck, I don't know if he's necessarily the guy to fit that bill. So do I think, he can complement Tavares? Do I think that Clutterbuck is good enough to, complement whoever's line mates are and what their strengths and weaknesses are? Yes. Do I think he's good in his own zone and he can help that line in that regard? Yes. Do I think he can, help by, starting a forecheck and if they can establish possession that way? Yes. So I think from that standpoint, I think he can definitely mesh well with Tavares. Again, is he the best option? Maybe not. But do I think that he can work there? Possibly. But is the coach going to do it? No, the coach is not going to do it.
Bringing the puck through the neutral zone is the key to you. That's what it sounds like. Carrying the puck and gaining zone entry, that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest asset that a winger since Ladd doesn't do it, I think Tavares' other winger, I think that would be the best asset, and I think that's why we all thought Parenteau, who's good at doing that, who's good at establishing possession in the offensive zone, who's good at gaining the zone and establishing possession. That's why we all thought he was brought back to play with Tavares for that reason. And then when he was cut, that's why we were all just scratching our heads like, what is going on here? Is he playing now? Is he getting minutes in New Jersey?
Yeah, he's playing. He's playing for the Devils. Yeah, I think he's played all their games so far. He hasn't been a healthy scratch yet. He has a goal, I know. I think he may have an assist, so he may have at least 2 points.
See, I thought maybe like, he was injured or, just looked finished or washed up, but getting picked up by another team and producing a goal already speaks to the contrary. So, I don't know.
Apparently, there was I guess he was quoted as saying, "Want to prove the Islanders wrong," is what he was quoted as saying. Yeah. Right. And again, but here's the question now. He was cut because of the rookies. They've now alternated, and Beauvillier actually scored it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's absurd. He scored his first NHL goal tonight, Beauvillier. We've only seen Barzal in the one game.
Barzal, how about Barzal? Did you?
Yeah, well, I guess you said you watched that Washington game, right?
Back-to-back penalties?
Yeah, and one that you never, ever see, playing the puck from the penalty box.
I didn't even know that was the rule because I've never seen it. where oh Jesus, he stuck his stick out of the penalty box. He didn't even come out of the penalty
No,
box.
he
just
didn't. He didn't even have one skater. He had. He was still completely in the penalty box, and when he played that, he just kind of like helped it along. There it was as he getting off the ice, and he was probably, oh, there's the puck. Oh, there it goes, and then he gets back on the ice with 2 seconds, up, arm in the air, up you, back in the box. And you see his, and they cut to his mom, of course, and his sister, I guess, a couple of times.
That was hysterical.
So Auston Matthews' mother and father get to watch him as an 18-year-old score 4, or 19, I guess, score 4 goals, whereas the Barzals get to see their son commit 3 penalties. He almost matched the amount of goals that Matthews scored.
Oh my God.
With his 3 penalties. So, yeah, not exactly a memorable NHL debut for Barzal.
You know what was painful again about the loss of Washington was both goals were scored by a guy that had 6 goals last year and played almost a full season.
Winnick. Yeah, he's a 4th-line player.
That felt painful. A guy with not much an offensive skill set scoring both goals.
Yeah, and Hamonic and Letty now.
If it's going to be Ovechkin or Oshie, whatever, fine, you let it go. Like, it's their best players. They got you. But a guy like that?
Yeah. Yeah, Winnick is not exactly known for his scoring touch or his scoring prowess, and that's not why he's playing. He's a 4th-line winger for the Capitals. Play 10 minutes a game. Maybe play strong defensive hockey, whatever. But yeah, and Hamonic blew a tire on that. Skate gave out. On that second goal by that game-winning goal by Winnick. And the Islanders' only goal in that game was a fluky power play goal by Strome, who has been not exactly great so far. Granted, only 4 games, but Garth has staked his wagon to Ryan Strome having a big bounce back year. And I don't know if it's happening for him. I mean, it's only 4 games, so we have to let the season develop, and then we can look at it a little bit closer. But
so to get Barzal or Beauvillier, if that's how you say it, I don't know.
Beauvillier, yes, the French.
Is that how you say Beauvillier?
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Yep, the Quebec Major Junior. He was playing.
But to get a fair look at those guys, then you have to be sitting one of Quine, Prince, or Bailey.
Yeah,
right?
And now Prince is on the IR, so Quine took his spot, and we know that.
Who's on IR?
Prince played the first 2 games. I think he was in the Washington game. I think.
Oh, and he got injured.
And yep, he's on IR. So Quine, that's why he took his spot in the lineup on Sunday and tonight.
But so you have to. I mean, to get both these guys in, to have them both playing. I mean, I don't like this alternating thing. How do they get into a rhythm?
Exactly, and that's why in this whole, we want them to get as much experience as possible in meetings.
I feel like you're playing games with these guys. I think you just have one down in the minors playing every day, and the other up here playing every day. You don't alternate the 2 of them. It just doesn't seem.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So they can't go to the minors. They get their 9 games before the first year of their entry level deal would kick in. So it hasn't kicked in yet for either of them. Once they reach the 9 games, then you have to make a decision. But they don't. They can be on the roster the whole year as long as they don't play more than 9 games. And believe it or not, at least I think maybe there may be a stipulation there. But
so a healthy scratch doesn't count as a game.
Right, does not count. So, but they can't go to the minors. They're not old enough. They'd have to go back to their junior teams. So that's the question now. That I don't know what the answer is going to be. I really don't. I have no idea. I mean, I don't like this every other game, or at least it was until Beauvillier. I guess Barzal committed 3 penalties, so he gets put in the doghouse, or whatever. He gets banished. Yeah, I honestly don't know what the hell they're doing right now. I don't know if they think that they really could be contributors this year, and they really are giving consideration to having one of them stay, because we know it won't be both. I mean, I think Barzal is very talented, and I think if he's put in the right situation and he's coached the right way. But Capuano, you've heard me, of course, everybody's that listens to our program has heard me kind of critique Capuano's coaching abilities just ever so slightly at times, and while he's good at handling young kids, I don't know if he's necessarily the best guy to get the most out of him. And you're just seeing how the NHL is turning into a younger players league, and players at earlier and younger ages are having more and more success. I'm not just talking about Austin Matthews, 4 goals. That was an aberration. I mean, Austin Matthews is going to be a great player, but I'm not basing my opinion off of that. Overall, you're seeing how these young players are established, are able to have success much earlier in their careers. They don't have to struggle for a couple of years before they gain their footing like it used to be. And I think Barzal is talented enough. Beauvillier, I honestly don't know enough about him. He looks like he has ability. He doesn't look like he's lost out there. I mean, he first game struggled a little bit against the Rangers, committed an early penalty, as did Barzal. But I agree with you. I think that the alternating, or the one in and then 1 game, 2 games for this one, and the other one back in, I don't like it. Decide what you want to do. Give them a fair evaluation. If you are considering both of them, I like Quine, so I would say sit Bailey. Have them both play in the lineup right now. They're not playing great. It's not like they're undefeated. With one of them in, and you don't want to shake up the apple cart. The team looks lifeless, and their offense stinks. And you can't just count on Tavares to carry your offense again. I like the Nelson line with Lee and Chimera. I think that could be a good line. We'll see how that works out. But you can't have your 4th line be your best line again.
They're not the 4th line. They're not the 4th line. They're not the 4th line. I think that's
the proverbial 4th line.
But they're not.
You're right.
I don't understand.
They are their best. They have been their best line again.
And they start the games. They start. So clearly they're not. They're on the ice when the puck is dropped.
If you want to do it by ice time, yeah.
I didn't see tonight if that was the case. I did not catch the first at the puck drop. My guess is they were, but they were on Sunday. And I think they were in Washington.
And you can trust them in all situations. And that's why. But then that's the thing, is that they are legitimately good hockey players. Kuhlman, he had a bad year last year, but I know he's better than what he was last year. Cizikas and Clutterbuck are legitimate good hockey players. Are they going to score, 60, 70 points? No. But they are legitimate good hockey players. And you're right. They are better than 4th line players. They can play 15 minutes a night, and they will not hurt you. They are good enough.
I didn't realize the Islanders are in the midst of a 5-game homestand here.
Well, remember, the Islanders play 95% of their home games before Christmas. They play I know we mentioned it last time, 9-game road trip.
Friday they host Arizona. Sunday they host Minnesota. And then Wednesday next week, Montreal. Those are the next 3 games at home.
Yeah.
And they go at Pittsburgh. That'll be fun.
Sure it will be.
Yeah, so these are, home games. They got to establish their ability to win at home, I think, is a pretty obvious thing to say, and we'll see what happens. All right. Well,
here I just want to expand on your point about them not being the 4th line. This Cizikas, Clutterbuck, Kuhlman. So here's their time on ice tonight. 14 minutes and change for Cizikas, 17 minutes and change for Clutterbuck, and 15 minutes and change for Kuhlman. So there you go.
Well, what is that?
That means it's not 4th line minutes. So
that's the context that you need to provide.
Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So the meaning that the 4th liners usually will play 10 to 12 minutes in this league. Top. Some of them will play less. But Strome tonight only 10 minutes. Quine less than 10 minutes. Beauvillier less than 10. So there's your 4th line right now. The Strome line is your 4th line right now. Yeah. And then second and third,
the guy that the Islanders are looking for a big bounce back from.
No, and Josh Bailey played 22 minutes. Josh Bailey saved our season.
Yikes.
Oh man, I don't know. Well,
so I don't know if you saw. You probably didn't. I sent out a tweet last night. I'm shifting the subject.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. And that reminds me, are you proud of the Lip for his Twitter?
Yes.
Some Twitters.
Yeah. So yes, you're doing great. And you will stay in your rhythm. You'll be taking it to the next level. At some point, doesn't have to be now. You're doing well. Where there's more engagement, but just keep it up for now. Keep up what you're doing. So that's at Hip and the Lip. Those are the Lips tweets. You could find the Hips tweets at TaxDood, TaxDood. So I sent out a tweet last night during the Cleveland Toronto game 4. No, game 3. I'm sorry, it was last night. And during the game, because Trevor Bauer had to leave in the first inning because his hand was all, bloody, stitches,
bleeding all over himself.
Somehow the Indians still won the game by Terry Francona just doing a magical job with his bullpen, pulling all the, the strings properly to keep the Toronto bats at bay. It was announced during the game who would start game 4 for Cleveland and game 5. So 4 was, and that was tonight, their ace, Corey Kluber. And then it was announced who the game 5 starter was. Did you see who the game 5 starter is?
If you're asking me, it's because it's probably somebody that I know.
Do you know who it is? Do you know who it is?
I have not heard. No. So I'm going to guess. Can I guess?
Of course.
Okay, because I don't know. So if you're asking me, it's probably somebody that I know. It's probably somebody that you would not have thought would have been a consideration. Could it possibly be Andrew Miller?
Starting game 5. No, it is not Andrew Miller.
Okay, then I have no idea. I don't know.
It is Ryan Merritt.
I have no idea who that is.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe it was because he was really going outside the box by starting Miller.
I'm just getting over a throat thing, and my voice is starting to give out. So Ryan Merritt, and I played fantasy baseball this year, as did you, and not in the shallowest of leagues. So we were paying attention to players who were pitching well. So I looked it up. I'd never heard of Ryan Merritt. He's had 1 career Major League Baseball start and 11 total career innings pitched in his career. And he's starting game 5 against Toronto. This is how desperate the Indians are for pitching, and yet somehow they're 1 win away of being in the World Series. It is just an incredible, incredible achievement that they've gotten to this point.
It is, but Francona, let's hope he didn't outthink himself by starting Kluber tonight, because he could have had him on full rest tomorrow. Even if they lose, if they do lose today, and let's hope because Francona has managed brilliantly in the whole playoffs. I mean, he has pushed every right button with that team. He has gotten them as much. He has maximized, every last bit, that you can possibly get out of a baseball team, and he's done a fabulous job. Andrew Miller has been absolutely sensational. Have you seen his? No runs, nine innings, no runs, 20 strikeouts. Miller, who of course was traded from the Yankees, as we talked about the trade deadline. Oh my God, has Miller been amazing? Oh my God! Oh, he's even been better than Aroldis Chapman. Oh yes,
indeed.
But they are 1 game away. But they may put a scare into them, Toronto. Let's see.
I mean, if there's any offense,
Ryan Merritt.
Ryan Merritt starting game 5 for Cleveland.
God.
And it looks like the Dodgers are up 5-0 in the bottom of the 8th. So, barring some miraculous comeback from the Cubs,
unbelievable.
The Dodgers are going to take a 2-1 series lead there. So that which is look, it's 2-1. That might be headed for 7 games.
And I made a note of this. There's going to be so much pressure on the Cubs tomorrow. They are going to have a ton of pressure on them, because they are staring Kershaw in the face potentially for game 5 if they lose tomorrow.
And, Arrieta letting up 4 runs in 5 innings, 2 homers. One was a solo shot to Justin Turner. The other was I think a 2-run shot from Grandal. Yep. Oh, Rich Hill, though. My gosh, 36 years old and 6 shutout innings.
Cub, the former Cub, yes.
This guy, God, Rich Hill, incredible. He missed so much of this year because of a blister. But when he is able to pitch, he doesn't top 87 miles an hour, but he has this ridiculous curveball that you just can't. And he throws it for strikes. And so when he comes back with the fastball, you can't just. They can't catch up with it.
6-0. 6-0.
6 done.
Yep. And how about this? How about this though? The only Cubs that have hit in this playoffs is Bryant and Baez, who are doing everything they can to carry that team. 2 more hits for Bryant tonight, and this is before this game. So this is before this game. I know all these players. I'm pretty sure all these players are hitless. So Rizzo, Hayward, Russell, Fowler, Zobrist. Pretty good names, pretty good players. Combined 12 for 109 in the playoffs. That's good for a 110 clip.
Ouch.
How about that?
Hayward's been bad all year, so.
I had him. So we both had him. The amazing Jason. $184 million, right? Wasn't that what it was? 100, right? Was
incredible contract. Incredible contract he was getting.
Oh my God.
I mean, Russell's been. He's been better than he was last year. Hasn't been great, but the other guys, Fowler's kind of streaky, but Zobrist and Rizzo, I mean, those are staples in your lineup. So
yeah, and so Zobrist was great last year for Kansas City, and Rizzo's an MVP candidate.
Yep. No,
that is amazing. I mean, and like I said, if they lose, and it looks like they're going to lose this game, if they lose tomorrow, they are staring Kershaw in the face.
Lackey against Julio Urias. Yeah,
yep,
I mean,
the 19-year-old Cuban.
He's like 18 years old or 19. I mean, this
19,
guy.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, Fowler has a hit tonight. Fowler does have a hit, so that means you can add 1. But Zobrist, Rizzo, Hayward, who got a pinch hit tonight, all hitless in this game. So you can lower that average from 100 maybe to like 109 or 108.
It's some good baseball, Watching Ryan Merritt try to close out the Blue Jays is kind of interesting.
I'm into it too. I mean, it's gonna, in the Cubs bandwagon, I'm not. Yeah.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
I love Kershaw. I think Kershaw. I can't stand all the nonsense about his postseason, numbers and he's on a big game pitcher. I just want to see Kershaw have like a Baumgartner like Herculean effort and lead the Dodgers to the World Series.
Didn't he completely shut down the Cubs on Sunday?
He did. Yep. Pitched brilliant 7 innings, no runs. They scored 1 run. So, I mean, no margin for error for the great, phenomenal, maybe the best pitcher of the last 50 years, maybe since Sandy Koufax, maybe the best pitcher since Sandy. And, wearing the Dodge uniform, of course, is Kershaw, as did Sandy. And, let's see if he can carry that team. And, it's obviously they're getting contributions from other guys. And, it's unbelievable, though, to see what that Dodger team is doing, especially with the very heavily favored Cubs. Everybody's America's darlings. Everybody wants to see the Cubs do it. Oh,
yeah, that's Theo. Theo.
Oh, that's right, Theo. Right. Oh, another. Let's cut to Bill Murray again. Oh, let's cut to Bill Murray. Another base hit. Oh, look at Bill Murray cheer. Oh, I'm so happy for Bill Murray. Look at him. Oh.
Why is that? I mean, it's just because he's a Cubs fan.
Yeah. Well, I guess
All
so.
Right. So I'm prepared to close this out with the hipster.
All right. Yeah, that's all. I have to introduce you. Wait, I have to introduce you. Coming up, everybody, and right now, the hipster beer of the week. Take it away, Mr. Hip.
So, for not the immediately prior episode, but the 2 episodes immediately before that, which would be episodes 30 and 31, the hipster beers of the week were based off of beers whose breweries I had gone to that week. Last week, the streak ended, but we started a new streak this week.
All right.
Because I went to a brewery that's 7 blocks south of Barclays. I did not even know it was that close to it.
What brewery would this be? Yes.
Threes Brewing.
Threes Company 2?
Huh?
I said Threes Company 2. Three's Company 2, come and knock on our door. John Ritter and the dancing blonde and brunettes.
Hopefully somebody else knows that one.
We've been waiting. Oh, come on, Three's Company? I mean, it was before our time, but the theme song at least, right? Come and knock on our door.
I do not.
Well, you can watch it on TV Land if you ever. That's kind of age, actually. You pick it up on TV Land.
I used to watch the original MacGyver on TV Land.
That's right. Have you watched? I know we're getting away. We have to get the hipster beer of the week, but have you watched the new MacGyver? What are your thoughts? Because I know how big.
I've watched every episode.
Amazing. Richard Dean Anderson.
It's just not the same. I mean, anybody expecting something similar to the cheesy but smooth, Richard Dean Anderson MacGyver of the '80s, you're not going to get it. It's a slicker, a little more outwardly cocky, but not in a charming way. Still in a charming way, younger MacGyver, and it's because it's 2016. It has that like with 24 and like the text like they'll put across the screen with like where they are, what time it is, and the music synced to it.
I see.
Like those like modern touches to it.
It doesn't have the same feel like the 1980s and early 90s.
Right, and there's like this chick character who's like a super genius with cracking code. Like even though you don't really see what she does, she just does it. Like computer code. It's not bad. As a standalone, it's not that bad. It's not.
All right. Well, answer me this. Does MacGyver still foil criminals' plots to take over the world or whatever they do?
Yes.
Does he still foil them with a paper clip, a piece of string, a rubber band, and a stapler? Does he still use?
Yes. At its core, they still get to that. Yes.
Don't thank me. Thank the Earth's gravitational pull.
I just hope that what they do is incorporate. I want them to build up the villains better. Like as of right now, it's just a random like actor that's trying to detonate a bomb in some country. Well,
does he still have that guy Jack as his sidekick? Is that guy back, or is there a different guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Jack Dalton is his sidekick.
That's right, Jack
in every
Dalton.
episode.
That's right.
But I think we need to feel more of a threat. Right now, they're randomly defeating like different terrorists or otherwise. There has to be like somebody who they think they took care of who like reappears and like I mean, at the end of the day, that MacGyver's not going to die during the show.
Yeah.
But at least with the old show, in a way, you still felt like he was threatened.
Yeah.
There hasn't been much of that in this, and there's a lot more gunfire in this. There was some guns in the old show, but it was here and there, and MacGyver would never even touch a gun if his life depended on it in the old show. But in the new one,
he was so resourceful.
I mean,
MacGyver.
and they do that. They're consistent with that here, but everyone else is just firing away like all around, and it's a little overkill. It's not bad though.
MacGyver, you foiled the criminal's plot again, and you did it all within 46 minutes. Oh, you're so consistent, MacGyver.
But that's what the cheesiness of it is what made it entertaining, right? Now it's more okay. He's going to do it. It's just you're on. You feel too comfortable watching this. There's no real. I think they need to like. I think they need to like kill off somebody that's close, like one of the not MacGyver, but somebody that's close. I don't know. You have to feel like something bad could happen at any time. You just never feel that. Anyway.
All right. Back to the hipster beer of the week.
Yeah, right. So there's a brewery called Threes, Threes.
All right.
You can find their stuff on tap in the New York City area, some cans. One of the better-known breweries in the New York City area, and a pretty chill spot just to go hang out because they have a full kitchen. They actually serve other breweries' beers there. They have bottles and on draft, which I thought was interesting. I think all the other brewers I've been to that I can recall would only serve their beer. Threes Brewing does not. They also had a backyard area with maybe like 30 tables or so, and it was Sunday was a nice day, so hung out outside for like an hour before the game and had tried out a couple of their beers. This one is called Chronic Myopia, and I did get a 4-pack which is cool that you could just buy to go. It's an IPA, pineapple, green papaya, pine candy, mild bitterness, dry finish, rated over 4 on Untapped.
That's a pretty good rating there.
Good rating, good beer. Check it out. And that's a wrap. So we'll see you next week. be some more, new Odell Beckham storyline, I'm sure, and the Jets be using Geno Smith after they lose to Baltimore. And is Josh Bailey still getting 22 minutes?
And can the Islanders have more losses than the Jets by next week? Stay tuned.
So there are your questions. We'll have answers. We're hip in the lip. All right, bye.
All right. Bye.
Next. WCast. Next.